I am so excited to have my next guest on the show. We connected a couple years ago, and he is just an amazing individual doing amazing things. He's the founder of Man of War. He's the good friend of mine, Rafa Conde. What's up, brother?
What's up, Pat? Honor to be on your show, brother.
Oh man, you are just doing so much in the world to help cultivate that warrior mind in men. I want you to talk about it during this show, and I want to pick your brain on some things that are going on in the world, if you're okay with that, brother. But for people who don't know who you are, Rafa, give us a little background, and how'd you get to where you're at?
You got it, man. So my background, just retired after 17 and a half years.
Awesome.
Police officer. Most of my years were in narcotics, attached out to the DEA task force, tactical diversion squad, and then Mad TAF, which was another narcotics task force. And pretty much did a stint on different groups, SWAT, hostage negotiation, field training, taught in the police academy for over a decade. With that said, in the police academy was where I came to, for lack of a better word, I guess, be enlightened, had an epiphany. I started to see the cadets that were coming through, and we started to see this lack of warrior spirit, specifically in men. And it was almost like the men were coming through, and you started to see that women were just having an edge on the men. They were a little bit feistier, a little bit more courageous, had more confidence, and men were just kind of weak. So at that point, I started thinking, look, man, masculinity is getting burnt. People are getting, men are getting emasculated all over the place. We're seeing that effect in our society. So this was about 6 years ago. And I started traveling. At that time, I was traveling a lot throughout South America and teaching SWAT in different security groups and police forces. And I started to see that same phase even outside the country. So I said, you know what, let me do this, man. One of the guys came up to me and goes, you should start a podcast, start talking about it, start sharing some of this information that you're seeing. And I did just that, but I wanted to start a little bit different. I wanted to bring something to the table that was more about the warrior mindset. I aligned myself more with like the virtues of the samurai and the mentality of the Spartans, right? Yeah. And that way of life the Knights Templar had, which was more about, doing something for a higher purpose.
Sure.
So I really started aligning myself with that. And I started speaking about the warrior culture, about bringing these tenets, this philosophy back to our day and age now. And then during that process, also building men, right? Men are missing that warrior spirit in our day and age. So with that said, the podcast took off, and all I can say is I never looked back. We started a program that rite of passage for men who are going through, they go through a 5-day crucible, a whole 12-week experience virtually. And then they hit 5 days boots on ground. And then from there, we've transformed, man, I don't even know how many lives.
I was going to ask, it's got to be thousands and thousands of people, bro.
Yes. I mean, many, let's put it this way. It's very powerful. Yeah. And the men that have gone through this program are just, I look back and I'm just honored to be around them, because they're just men who have actually stepped up and done something courageous, done something that a lot of men won't do.
Yeah. And it's, it's interesting, the war, I'm 100% on board. But, when you and I were growing up, it was, you hear the term warrior and it was like, yeah, I want to be like that. Now it's almost like a negative connotation. And with a lot of people out there, it's like warrior. And I agree with you 100%, demasculization of our men. I mean, I don't know how we got to this point. I mean, is it just culture? Is it just where we're at as a society? I mean, what do you think?
Well, the
social
first is
media?
Culture. Yeah. Well, I think first it is culture. It starts at home, and a lot of times we're missing, unfortunately, what we're seeing is 34% of men, never had a dad in their home. Okay, at one point or another, the dad left or never had a dad. So that's a large, and it's been trending here since the 1970s, getting worse and worse and worse every decade. So men don't have a dad. So instead of going out there and finding male mentors, they're shifting and they're trying. They go down a different path. They go down a wrong crowd. So then you start seeing these male. Can't call them men, but they're males, but don't have any type of rhythm or rhyme of where they're headed in their life, right? There's no path, there's no purpose, there's no intent, there's nothing there. So what you see then is the media, right? Of course, left and right, they bombard, they attack men left, I don't have to tell you, everywhere, they're attacking any man that wants to do something that has to do with masculinity. Anything that's manly, it's looked down upon and frowned upon. Unfortunately, we've seen this where there's a wave right now over the last decade where it's just the shifting is from the power mode of men. Now they're shifting over to the power mode of women, right? Women, are taking over the power. But the reality here is this. Women don't necessarily want to be in power. Okay, they're in power, and I've studied this through thousands and thousands and thousands of men that I have coached and spoken at different events and just got to meet people. And the fact is that they've had to step up and start leading because men can't lead fucking anybody out the door. So we're missing that. And go ahead.
No, I'm sorry, brother. Go ahead. I interrupted you.
I'm saying, look, all I'm looking at is the world that we live in here. And when we started this program, the Man of War Crucible was about really teaching men how to be stronger fathers, husbands, leaders, visionaries, men of action, men who step up and actually run toward the sound of gunfire, not buckle down and use their wife as a shield. Okay. Men who actually are leading, they're leading from the front. And they're doing it the right way. And men who have what I call, and we, in our Men of War Society, which is a huge brotherhood of men, it's Makoto, which is sincerity of heart, which we were just discussing, your great transition and your change with Shatterproof and all that, which is so powerful. But you, Pat, you have that sincerity of heart because you're doing something from your heart. You're doing it because there's intent there, there's purpose there, right? And we are missing that as men. Most men, if you talk to, I would say 100 men, 95 of them, they don't know really why they wake up in the morning. There's no rhythm or rhyme. There's really nothing there for them to live for, except, hey, they go to work 9 to 5 and they do this and they do that. And that's their day. They come home, drink a beer, watch Netflix. The next thing you know, tomorrow comes.
I think, and well said, brother. I mean, I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, I think the majority of people out there, let's talk women, and maybe I'm just naive. Most women out there respect strength. They respect power. They respect confidence. They respect drive and purpose and passion in men. Right?
100.
I mean, but I agree with you, what you said about it starts in the home. It starts in the schools. I mean, what are we teaching our kids? Our young men and women and, boys and girls. I mean, it's crazy what is going on in the world today. And it's like, who's going to defend this country? When the shit hits the fan, that you have a law enforcement background and a stockbroker background, which you didn't mention, but you're a warrior, brother. So, I mean, I guess my point is there any hope for us? Is there any hope for men? Is there any hope for this country without men?
See, this is where a lot of people don't like what I have to say. And this is going to get worse before it turns the corner and things start getting better. There's going to be a point in time where it's going to be so oversaturated with women trying to take powerful places that the wave of men finally, hopefully, they will start snapping out of it and start saying, you know what? We're here in this planet. We're biologically different. Our mind is different. Okay. And I'm not here to say that women are inferior to men. I have a beautiful daughter. She's 9 years old. And believe me, I would never speak like that. I'm married to a beautiful woman. And so what I am saying is that we're biologically two different creatures. Now, men are hunters. In our world, maybe not in the lion world or in different, but I'm talking about our world as human beings. We are the hunters, we are the gatherers, we are the providers, we are the protectors, not women. Okay, women cultivate something much different and it's very powerful. Okay,
family unit, all that stuff.
Oh man, of course, that family rock that without women, men would be, I know that I as a man would be lost. I am a better man because of my wife, the way she has given me so much to live for, right? But the reality is that men are constantly being challenged by women, because in this world, women are looking for strong men who are confident in their path. See, women have gotten a lot stronger. Men have gotten a lot weaker. And what hasn't been, a lot of people get confused that men that women have gotten stronger than men. No, it's women continue to get stronger. Men continue to get weaker. So it's literally they're working in reverse. So as men, we need to do quite a few things to make those changes happen, like right now. The first and foremost, one of the most important things, listen, I talk about it in my new book, and I really break down the school board thing in that book also, a conversation that I had with the school board that kind of paints a picture for everything, that how our kids are raised. But we got to start by really avoiding self-deception. Most men live in a world where they create something that is not real. They lie to themselves. They give themselves certain attributes that really they don't have, only in their mind. They have really no idea what they're doing. There's no intent or purpose, as I mentioned earlier, in their entire day. There really isn't. Most men are out there believing that they're really good at their job. Where really you buckle them down and they're shit. They're lazy. They don't follow through. They're dishonorable as fuck. Most of them cheat like hell. They cannot forget about the fact that they can't be mindful enough to stay put and actually be present, because men, for the most part, you're speaking to a guy and he's thinking about this, he's thinking about that. The next thing you know, he doesn't even know what kind of conversation he's having with you. And now when you do that in communication with a woman, you've lost everything that has to do with synergy and connection between a man and a woman. The second that you're not there during an important conversation for a woman and your mind is somewhere completely else, which that's what happens most of the time, it's somewhere else, you've lost that connection. You've lost that contact. Men are missing that huge point in their life. The other thing that they're missing is balls, courage, right? The courage to do the right thing, even if it hurts, the courage to say the right thing, the courage to think the right thing. And it's disturbing to the point where men are constantly just lying, and they're justifying their lie, and they're justifying their actions based on their lies. They go in this vicious circle.
It's self-sabotaging is what it is.
And for exactly. And for one, it's just like saying, look, man, self-deception is a killer. It's a life killer. It's not just a mindset killer. It is a true life killer. If a man can really reflect on who he is, look at himself in the mirror and start finding out little by little, okay, because psychologically it's been proven over and over again that we are creatures of defense. We want to look at ourselves prettier than what we really are, right? Better looking than we really are. You're going to avoid your fucking, pimple in your face or your fat rolls and shit like that. We're taught to do that, right? I mean, you see it, and but everybody else sees that. Okay, people see you much different than you see yourself in the mirror. So, as warrior-minded men, our goal is to get stronger, to be battle ready for life, to be battle ready for situations in life that life may throw at you that are hard to get through. Okay. Also to prepare yourself to be the best version of yourself every single day, a little bit better, just a little bit better every single day, to sharpen that blade. And through the process of you forging yourself into instilling that type of discipline in your life, Pat, everything changes. Communications changes, the way that you articulate, the way you see things, the way you perceive things, dynamically, everything changes.
Yeah.
We need men to really start walking a different path of really avoiding this self-deception life that they live in.
Absolutely, man. And, you know, when you were talking, brother, I mean, it made me think of my own journey. And I remember looking in the mirror and lying to myself, like you said, and saying, oh, yeah, everything's great. And I'm this and I'm that. And I wasn't. And until I really started reflecting deeply and being honest with myself and saying, look, you're fucked up in a lot of ways and you're putting on a good front and you're doing this and that, but you're just fooling yourself. I know that little voice in my head was like, I know the real you. And it was like, I got to a point, we talked about my treatment, which was amazing and I needed it. But it got to a point where I was like, I had to learn to start loving myself and stop lying to everybody else. And once I, you know, came to that realization or epiphany, whatever word you want to use, it was like the doors open, like you said. It was like, holy shit, I'm not afraid anymore to show vulnerability and show the world that this is me. And I don't give a shit what people think. I know you don't either. I'm doing what I'm doing because I have to do it for myself to become better and to keep evolving and going forward. But yeah, I mean, I think that's part of it, right? I mean, you have to be honest with yourself. Like what you said, you have to be honest with yourself. You're not going to be the best, you know, at everything. You're not going to be God's gift to women or whatever, however you view yourself, but you got to love yourself. You have to constantly improve and you have to develop, like you said, that warrior mind, doing the right thing, even though it hurts. We all try to take that easy path, brother. You know that. Nothing's going to fall in your lap. You know, you have to go through the hell to get through the heaven, right?
Right, man. Look, Matt, the thing is, people don't understand that the magic doesn't happen in the comfort zone. Nope. The magic happens when you step outside that comfort zone. Absolutely. That's where it's at.
Absolutely. I mean, look at any pro athlete, brother. You know that. Look at you. You were at the top of your game in law enforcement, narcotics, DEA, top of your game. But somebody just didn't come and say, hey, Rafa, man, come and join this elite team. You had to fucking work your ass off. And I think that's what we're lacking today. People just want a quick fix, right, brother? And then when they come down to you and they go through a crucible or start learning your teachings and the amazing work you're doing, they're like, oh, fuck, I got to put in the work. But there's going to be a payoff, right? You're going to become better, not just for your families and your jobs, but for the world, right?
That's right. You know, and I was speaking about courage a little bit earlier, and courage, like, you know, we were talking about this before, you know, this podcast, and in the law enforcement world, you know, that stigma, you know, cops just don't want to take that step forward. You know, they lack that courage because they're going through something, you know, PTSD, impact scene, you know, situation. Shit, I've been involved in a lot of nasty shit in law enforcement. I mean, I can tell you stories, man, you know, working for a crazy fucked up city like I did, some really, really bad shit that would scar a lot of people. And I could see, because it even scarred me at a certain point in my life. And I remember that I was nervous to get help. Yeah. Eventually I reached out to EAP and get a little, you know, but even a few sessions made it better, man. Yeah. You know, I spoke to someone. But the bottom line is men need to really exhibit courage, and my law enforcement brothers and sisters need to step up. And man, if they're rattled, because that happens on the job, you're going to get rattled. If you do it long enough, you're going to get rattled at one point or another. There's nothing wrong with seeking help. No. You know,
it's a sign of strength. You know, I thought it was a sign of weakness for a long time. Yes. It's a sign of strength. Yes. To come forward. Right. And say, look, not just me, but anybody out there, anybody. I mean, it's a sign of strength. Don't listen to the fucking people that are telling you not to do it. because they
Yes.
probably need it more than you do.
Yes.
Just reach out.
Right. It's just one of the things that it's summoning that courage for you to take that step and reach out and break through that, man. You do it one time and you're golden, because from there on, you've built that. That's yours. You've earned that first step. You know, we talk about tactically, you never give up the ground you make up. Same fucking thing, man. You do that. You never give that up. You've earned that courage. And now, you know, things happen. You have the courage to step up.
And that is part of the warrior mindset.
100%.
Can let me ask you this, brother? Can all men become warriors? Or do you think it's like an innate, either you have it or you don't kind of thing?
No, I 100% believe, and keep in mind, the way that I define warrior, it's a little bit different than was most people. Okay. Most people immediately say, you know, soldier or cop or negative, somebody in the heat of battle, in the physical, tangible world, right? Where we touchy-feely. I take the warrior to an entirely different level, right? Yes, physically, you got to be in a position where, yes, you can defend and protect your family and be tactically sound, all that. That's just a part of our protector component. But the way that I teach is very simple. The other side to being a warrior-minded man is dealing with your demons, man. Face to face, having the courage, because the most difficult battle that any man is ever going to have is internal.
Yep. In your mind.
Internal, right? It's never going to be, you know, you can go have 10 fucking deployments, okay? Like we've had in our crucible, have combat veterans drop out all the time. They just assume they went to boot camp, they've been there, and then the next thing they know, they get slapped in the face because this crucible, this rite of passage is very, very difficult. Yep. Right.
And you're selective too. You're not taking everybody.
Oh no.
There's an interview process. There's all that stuff. So you just, for the people out there who are, and I hope they reach out, and links will be up in the show notes. You just can't sign up and say, all right, well, I'm going. No. There's an interview process.
That's right. And when these men come in there, they're like, well, you know, warriors, you know, some of them may think more of the physical side. They come in there. We have athletes, Ironman runners. We got guys that are, oh man, we got guys that are literally triathletes, you name it, great shape guys, early, you know, young guys, older guys, whatever. Bottom line is that the men who come in there in great physical shape only never make it. The guys that come in there mentally sharp and in good physical condition, man, those are the guys that, because remember, one of the things that I talk about in my book is there's certain things in your life that are going to mirror how you act. The crucible, the way we've designed it, it's a mirror of how you act in life. And if you're the type of guy that hides, that's constantly hiding and never wants to be found out, that's the wrong place for you to be. These demons will fucking come out. They'll come out on your shoulders. They'll start whispering things in your ear. They'll push you to quit. They're going to just take you to an entirely different level. As a warrior, you have to be battle ready to take on these demons. And I bring that back to certain things in law enforcement in my career, the people that I met. I've lost many brothers, you know, I've unfortunately and sisters to situations that were very sad, you know, but it's about dealing with these demons. It's about understanding that these demons, okay, you're going to go to battle with them. And one of the ways that you're going to go to battle with them, sometimes it is to step up and go get help. Okay. But that battle is that demon telling you, no, you're good. Don't worry about it. Right. It's that freaking little thing in your shoulder saying, hey, don't worry about that. You're good, because we're cops. We got guns and belts and we can do whatever the hell we want to. So we see that, and we see that for civilians, and we see that for other people, that they're constantly, when they come to the crucible, that's another way to seek help, for them to surround themselves with men who are better, stronger, to push themselves, to have breakthroughs psychologically, spiritually, emotionally, right? To get through certain things, because there's nothing more important in what I believe in the coaching that I've done in my life, is to break down a man so low that when he starts rising, there's nowhere else to go but up. That's how you start forging that inner strength of a man. And we have seen men who have lost kids in drownings, we have a guy that just went through, he lost a child at 4 or 5 years old in a drowning incident, drove away from his house for 10 minutes for a second, came back. He sees the ambulance and everything in front of his house, his wife there screaming, whatever, loses a child like that. Okay. For what that man went through for all those years, I mean, to go through the struggles and the mindset and for a man to go into the crucible and to face those demons like that and to let it go and to finally learn how to let it go, man, that was an honor. Okay. To be able to finally see him break free from that. And I can't tell you how many lives we've touched like that.
I know you have, man. You're all over. And for anybody who isn't following you, follow Rafa, because he is all over there and all over social media doing good work, God's work, in my opinion. And you can see what these guys go through in the crucible. And it is, man, it's very important. You know that, Rafa, you wouldn't be doing it. And I just, I'm honored to know you, brother, because you are an amazing individual. Now, we're going to have links up in the show notes. And you mentioned a new book. If you can just talk about that, just a couple seconds, and give us a little sneak peek. Is it out there yet, or is it coming?
Yeah. It's, I'm actually going to be sending you a copy.
You're the man.
Yeah. Redefining the 21st century man.
I got to get some of that, man.
And
where can you find it? On Amazon or what? Barnes and Nobles?
We're a bestseller right now, national bestseller. So we hit multiple categories, you know, so I appreciate everybody out there. You can find it pretty much anywhere, Barnes and Noble, Amazon, wherever. Okay.
You're the man.
So I appreciate you, Pat, man. You're a good brother, man. You're one of those guys that, you know, you've been there for a while, and I've seen you really grow into the guy you are today, into the man you are today.
Well, and I appreciate it, brother, but I mean, you're only as good as the people around you, man. And you being one of them, I know we've kind of, you know, back and forth over the last couple of years, but I mean, I look up to you, man. I mean, you're one of those guys where I'm like, I want to be like that guy. Because you have, no, I'm serious, man. I'm not blowing sunshine up your ass. I mean, because you are. I mean, you're out there and you're making such an impact in the world, brother. And you can have a mentor. I mean, even though, you know, they're fucking states apart and shit. That's the beautiful thing about the world we live in. You don't have to have a mentor like right in front of you. But you are, man, and not just for me, but a lot of other men out there. And if people want to reach out to you, brother, I mean, I know you're all over. You know, I'll have it in the show notes, but what's the easiest way?
You can follow me at Instagram, Man of War with 2 R's, and then also Man of War. That's MEN of War Crucible.com. That's our landing page. And then finally, our main company page is just manofwar.us. You can pretty much find me anywhere. Just look for Man of War Crucible or Rafa Conde. You'll find me online anywhere.
Any other final thoughts, brother, before we take off?
Yes, one last final thought. Bottom line is we need more warrior-minded men in this world. What just happened, you know, the mass shooting that we had, not only in Uvalde in the school, but in Illinois, in that parade, we need more men to step up, be protectors, protect their families, have communication with their families, have a fucking game plan if anything ever were to go down.
Absolutely.
Right? Where to move, what to do tactically, take a course, reach out to me. I don't care, whatever you guys need to do, man. But it's that, to me, we need more warrior-minded men to be protectors and to be battle ready for this evil that roams this earth.
Absolutely, brother. And it's a constant battle, man. Constant battle. Thank you, brother. God bless.
God bless you too, man. Thank you for having me on, guys.
Bye.